Want to be a rich boy? Then set sail quickly. Go fishing for the priceless bluefin tuna. All you have to do is catch a giant bluefin 2 meters long. The resale price to the buyer is absolutely breathtaking. The starting price is at least $20 a pound. Tens of thousands of dollars a day. People in the business. Will you still be short of money in your pocket? The tuna net was the first to reach the fishing spot. In these days of intense competition, always fighting with Marcia and Jack for the title. But as the fishing season dwindles, they must speed up their work and give full play to their own advantages. That's Dave's notebook. This is the perfect spot on the laptop. Dave used to catch a lot of fish here, earned a handsome reward, so they chose to stick with it. The color was bright. The crew of the fat tuna, watching whales leap out of the water in the distance. This is a sign that there are likely to be tuna in the vicinity. At the same time, this ocean, and the bad fish and the hot tuna. Sounds like a fishing spot to be reckoned with. OTT then tries to convince Bob to switch places with him, because Bob was the only one that showed up. Luckily, Bob didn't fall for the trick. Instead, they urged the crew to step up their decoys, despite attempts to lure him away. But it just proves that the current position is ideal. Sure enough, the detector went off. The tuna appeared at the bottom of the boat. Suddenly, the rod bent. Manny quickly stepped forward and clenched. Noise over here caught OTT's attention from afar. Luckily, Bob was on his guard. Or this tuna, it could end up in OTT's pocket. With Bob joining in, they had a relatively quiet time. The only trouble was that the line got tangled in the tail. Only John can solve this problem, so he naturally took over. The fishing time has been going on for 50 minutes. The tuna suddenly intensifies its escape, almost ripped the fishing line. This infuriated John, and he increased his strength. It worked surprisingly well, pulling Tuna to the surface. The other two quickly picked up the spear. Without hesitation, stabbed the tuna. Stick it firmly in the fish. They quickly tied the rope. The 13th fish was successfully caught. This makes the next OTT envy. We're all in the same ocean. Why did you get nothing? When the tuna cools down, they pulled him on board. Measurements found the tuna to be 2 meters long. That's a pretty good catch. It's just a little smaller. Bob, after catching the fish, give up your place generously. So the evil fish quickly set off for a new location. On the way, they happened to meet a whale. That's more attractive than Bob's position. After we tell OTT and others where we are, they're also starting to set up decoys. Prepare to use this as a new fishing spot. Just put the bait in the ocean. The detector showed fish 250 feet below the surface, and there are plenty of them. As Chris watched the fishing rod nervously, the tuna is cooperating with the hook. Chris's face is so big, even a genetically related fish. I would give my life for him. This drove OTT to the side, almost crazy, because in this ocean, he's the only one who hasn't seen tuna. After Kyle took over the fishing rod, it shows the unique vitality of young people. It's amazing how fast your hands can turn, as if he had accumulated his strength for more than 20 years. It soon pulls the tuna to the surface. The fish was clearly visible on the surface of the water. Chris quickly picked up the harpoon nearby. Wait for the tuna to swim to the boat. As he throws the spear, the tuna's life is over. After controlling the fish to the side of the boat, he immediately tied it with rope. Successful catch of a bluefin tuna. I wonder how much profit this will bring them. As they haul the tuna on board, measurements revealed that the fish was 2 meters long, in full compliance with fishing regulations. While David All caught someone breaking unspoken rules. Place a float beside another person's boat. That's not a good sign, is it? Whichever side catches the fish could have cut each other's line. Everyone knows to keep a safe distance, but they try to get closer, so angry that Dave stepped forward and lashed out. But it does not seem to have prevailed. The other side distorts the facts, claims they brought the boat here. I heard Jody's face turn red. He began to argue fiercely. To no avail. The other side is still doing what they want. To the frustration of Dave and others, decided not to waste any more words. Stay away from these brain-retarded people. The fat tuna had now returned to port. They started selling their tuna. If the fish is of poor quality, the threat to first place will be minimal, even negligible. After excising the useless part, tuna weighs 243 pounds, 110 kilograms net. The fish looks pretty good. The core has a nice pink color. The fat is also fairly evenly distributed. Willing to buy it at $19 a pound. That earned them $4,617, if not slightly lower weight. Bob could have earned more. It's about 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Several members of the hard merchandise number. Not a single tuna has been seen. This gave them the idea of changing the fishing spot. However, the current location has caught a lot of fish. This puts Marcia in a bind. But the mood did not last long. The detector has gone off. Looks like there are 3 tuna under the water. This made them quite happy, because it's a sign that the tuna is about to bite. When the rod starts to bend, Joe grabbed the pole quickly. Start recycling your fishing line. But it didn't seem to be the tuna he was hooked on. Still expect it to be. Decided to pull the fish ashore first. The line began to fly out quickly. A discerning eye could tell it was a tuna. They're the only ones who can run like this. After Jason took over the fishing rod, strong recovery of fishing line. Try to pull the tuna out of the water quickly. Though his premonition came true. But this fish seems to be on the small side. The fishing standards set by the government were not met. On closer inspection, it looks less than 1.85 meters. They have to be released, or you could go back to jail. The evil fish returned to port. Found Rick the buyer. Sell just caught tuna. Rick cut with consummate skill. Quickly eliminate the useless parts. The remaining tuna weighed 220 pounds and 99 kilograms. Cut off the fishtail. Look very attractive. Good fat and color. The only thing missing is the core. So I can only give you $17. Let them make $3,740. It's not a huge amount, though. But for them now, still considerable. A new day dawns. Jack, captain of the time, flies. I felt uneasy when I heard that someone had caught a fish. But after confirming that Marcia and Dave didn't get anything, the mood suddenly brightened. The anxiety of being overtaken. It has eased considerably. As long as I get something today, the lead is secure. The fat tuna was on her way to Chatham. The motives are puzzling. Why choose such a distant voyage? And there's a storm coming up here. Venture Forward is not afraid of getting into trouble. Soon enough, Jack got a message from Bob. No more fishing today. This is certainly welcome news. Dave, looking for a new fishing spot, realized it was not a place to stay. The surrounding fishing boats are crowded and competitive. But if we go somewhere else, fuel costs will increase significantly. And there's no time to waste to get the benefits. But there is no profit without fish. The probe on the flight of time. It shows 2 tuna in the vicinity. This is certainly heartening news. Meanwhile, the detector on Dave's boat. 5 tuna were also found. The fish numbers are better on their side. The crowd waited with bated breath, eagerly waiting for the tuna to bite. The time flies finally got a bite. Manny quickly stepped forward and clenched the rod. As the main fisherman on the boat, his skill is impeccable. Even if someone else does lend a hand once in a while. Nick eventually took over. Soon the tuna came to the surface. After what Marcia and the others saw, I can't help but envy, especially seeing Jack's harpoon. When you drop the tuna with precision, although the fish then fled again, but they never got away from me. Follow the tuna to the boat. Jack quickly made up the fork. The fish is successfully controlled to the side of the boat and tied to the rope. They harvested a fish again. Marcia and others feel more and more heavy. The title race is getting tougher this season. After the tuna has cooled in the water, was pulled on board without incident. The tuna was measured to be 2.5 meters long. It's pretty strong. When they came to Rick, the buyer, starts selling this tuna immediately. The fish is quickly dismembered in Rick's hands. Others must not begin to worry. The final fish weighed 388 pounds and 175 kilograms. The fishtail looks pretty good. It goes without saying that the whole thing is flawless. Rick just offered $19 a pound. They earned $7,372. Captain of the tuna net and the windmill. After learning that Jack had succeeded in catching fish, some frustration is inevitable. Why have you been so slow to learn something? The case of the evil pizza, however, was different. Paul and Lance are in a good mood. Obviously, the gap is huge. Didn't feel too nervous, but the coming storm still makes both people uneasy. After all, there is little fishing time left. If I can't catch more fish to make money, I'm afraid we'll face another loss this year. Then their detectors went off. The fishing rod bends at the same time, although Lance was a little slower, but still in time to take control. The old man's technique is very good. There's a routine for every fishing trip. Let the tuna swim for a while, then slowly tighten the line, and so on. The effect is quite remarkable. The tuna didn't swim very far, always hovering in the same place. Even when Lance started officially recycling his fishing line, the tuna swam slowly to the surface. Soon it appeared above the water. After seeing the tuna, their hearts suddenly hung. Paul quickly picked up the spear, stabbed the target decisively. Why is this fish still struggling? Paul missed the shot. Paul had to add another shot. The two men hold the tuna to the side of the boat, quickly bind it with a rope, pulling the tuna on board. It feels like the fish weighs at least 200 kilos. It looks like tuna are really big. The measurements showed that the fish was 2 meters long. It's a good fish. 2 hours later, Paul and Lance returned to port, started selling the catch of tuna. Soon the fish was cut up. The tuna weighed 413 pounds and 187 kilograms. These two are extraordinary. The weight of the tuna had been estimated. Fish of superior quality. It's a beautiful pink color. The core is crystal clear. Fat is evenly distributed in the main areas. The buyer is willing to pay $17 a pound. They earned $7,021. Looks like Paul's about to make his mark. If the fishing time had been longer, very likely to win the title. Captain Taylor of the windmill. Feel the storm coming. This made Taylor even more nervous. And closer to the storm zone, the tuna net. I'm experiencing the wind of the moment. It feels a little dangerous. In this bad weather, Tyler and Dave, the mood is always tense. Be ready to evacuate and go home. Then the fishing rod of the tuna net suddenly bent. Several people rushed forward at once. A fierce confrontation with the tuna begins, with the current wind blowing. Their tug on the tuna. It seems to be getting harder. But for the experienced Sandro, this did not make much difference. He kept the fish under steady control. Fishing has been going on for an hour. Jody took his place. Oh, what a surprise. Someone's hair is so thin. If I hadn't known how young you were, I almost thought you were getting old. After a few waves lapping, the tuna also came up a lot. Did not let them suffer in vain. The fishing time came to an hour and a half. Their feet were full of seawater. The fish are finally surfacing. Pick up the harpoon on the side. They stab decisively, despite the success of the target. But the tuna escapes again. Fishing time extended to 2 hours. The strength of this fish is amazing. It bled for half an hour, can still swim in the ocean. After Sandro put another shot in, the tuna finally stopped moving. Looks like its strength is limited after all. Otherwise, I doubt it's carbon-based. As they pull the tuna on board, the fish was found to be very large, just a little thin. The fish measured 2 meters in length, almost 3 meters. Back at the port buyer's office, they quickly hauled the tuna ashore. Rickley lands and dismembers the fish. Remove the core and the fishtail. Weighed 592 pounds and 268 kilograms. The fish looks delicious, but some areas left bad marks. Suspected past illness. Even so, it still sells for $14. It brought them $8,288 in revenue. That's a good pay. After 2 days of intense fighting, there was not much movement on the list. The championship still belongs to Jack. Well, that's all for this program. Give it a thumbs up, and let's look forward to the next episode. Want to get rich fishing for bluefin tuna? Well, that depends on your luck, huh? Otherwise, you might run into other people are making a lot of money selling fish, and you're still out at sea. You even have to pay for the team out of your own pocket. Now, Captain Spotty of the Moonshine watching Orrin and Ryan get better together, knowing that even though the fishing season is almost over, they can also catch large numbers of tuna, earn enough capital to live on. Then he asked Bob, who was not far away, that they had found whale tracks. I asked if I could go too. Bob generously shared the coordinates. They clearly have confidence in their technology. Spotty, however, felt Bob's approval. It's not just confidence. It was the spectacle of him that led to it. After John and Manny set up the bait, they stand on the deck and wait for the fish to bite. When the probe revealed a shoal of fish at 215 feet, the crowd was suddenly nervous, despite numerous successful catches of tuna. But they're still nervous when the fish bite. It's not easy fishing, after all. It's the desire for wealth. John was just pulling for a few minutes. The tuna put up a fierce resistance. I had no idea this fish was so strong. In a short time, he dragged the line a dozen meters. But it was a piece of cake for John. He collected the line calmly and slowly. When the tuna's figure surfaced, Manny had his sights set on the fish head. One good shot in. After a successful hit, they quickly tied the rope to the fish's tail. Although the tuna is still struggling, and there's nothing I can do about it, the tuna cools in the water for a while. The three men work together to pull him into the boat. Looking at this tuna that's a little bigger than expected, they couldn't wait to start measuring. However, the results were not satisfactory. The tuna is only 2 meters long. At 9:15 in the morning, Jack uses the detector to find a good environment nearby. Identified this as a prime fishing spot. He decided to bait the place. Expect the tuna to bite, to keep him away from Marcia and Dave, and Bob, who just got something. Further distance from each other. Captain of the Moonshine, while waiting, Spotty goes to Bob's old fishing spot. Wait for the tuna to show up. Orrin saw movement in the fishing rod. Retrieved the fishing line immediately. The other two went to the deck. Move the rod to the stern. Ryan takes over the reel. Feels like a fish pulling like a shark. Spotty was puzzled by this statement. It's not a shark when a fish takes the bait. As Ryan pulls the fish to the boat, there was no doubt that it was indeed a shark. Had to cut the line and wait for the tuna. Meanwhile, the fat tuna. Tuna sold before arriving at the acquisition shop. Rick quickly weeded out useless parts. The tuna still weighs 329 pounds and 149 kilograms. Remove the core and the fish tail. Rick evaluates the tuna. Bright color and evenly distributed fat. Overall high quality. Priced at $19 a pound. They made a profit of $6,251. After nightfall, Captain Taylor of the Windmill. A new fishing spot was chosen. Their position in the league table is slightly awkward, in a situation where you're worse than you are. In addition, fishing time has gradually decreased. Must spare no effort. Tuna is caught to earn income. Once Taylor's done with everything, go to sleep. When the dawn breaks, the tuna suddenly attacked. Thankfully, Taylor is a light sleeper. Get up quickly and wake Marissa. A fierce confrontation with the tuna begins. The two take their positions. The tuna was spotted swimming towards the ship ahead. That's not a good sign, is it? Taylor immediately turned the ship around. Get away from the ship's position. After a successful escape, Marissa stepped up her efforts. Soon he drew the fish closer. But she also has very little strength left. Taylor immediately stepped in to take over. Let Marissa rest on the side. Through Tyler's efforts to pull, the tuna finally surfaced. Taylor let go of the fishing rod. Take out the tail hook and hold the tuna firmly. Marissa quickly tied the rope. As the two men worked together to pull the tuna aboard, the Windmill has another big fish on its way. The tuna was measured to be 2.5 meters long. It's a big payoff. 7:09 in the morning. It's the same old Jack and Nick. The fishing spot they had high hopes for yesterday. I didn't catch the tuna I wanted. Had to change the location again. Rearrange the mackerel bait. While Nick was busy setting up, Jack found some acquaintances not far away. David All from the Tuna Network. Also found nothing. Can only helplessly look at the vast sea. After the Windmill returned to port, the sale of tuna began immediately. What is the quality of this fish? Dennis takes out the core and the fishtail. They also cut out useless parts. The final fish weighed 374 pounds and 169 kilograms. The color of the fishtail is very bright and attractive. Unfortunately, the fat content is extremely low. The core looks fine though. However, this does not lead to a higher unit price. It can only be bought at $14 a pound, even though it's not as good as Bob's offer. But he still made $5,236. 1:30 p.m. Captain Marcia of the hard commodity decided to replace the current bait. No longer use the old live fish. I'm going to try some dead bait. I'm really confused. If there's any tuna around, why did the rod bend so quickly? Obviously, a fish bit the hook. Jason quickly stepped forward and grabbed the fishing rod. In the process of recovering the fishing line, it feels like this fish is putting up quite a fight. And it's not like tuna. It's a very weird state. Then something appeared on the water, but they didn't pay attention. Jason retrieves the line again. Out of the water came a shark. This is much to everyone's dismay. I thought I caught tuna. It turned out to be a repulsive shark. On the other side of the moonshine, we have an unexpected visitor sparrow. How did this little bird get on board? But it doesn't matter now. They still have to wait for the tuna. While Vaughn was waiting on deck, the fishing rod suddenly bent in front of me. He hurried forward, prepared to recover fishing line pulled by fish. I'm not sure if it was a shark or some other fish. Move the rod behind the stern. Ryan took the fishing rod from Vaughn. Although this fish looks like a shark, but Ryan sees things differently. Convinced it was a tuna, it seems his fishing experience has provided him with the answer. And Vaughn was in the process of recovering the fishing line. No definite answer has been found. Looks like my little buddy needs some practice. The fishing lasted an hour and a half. Ryan also managed to pull the tuna to the surface. It paid off their efforts. Vaughn took the harpoon and stabbed quickly. The tuna is quickly tied to a rope. The three finally managed to catch a number. I forgot they don't even have ships on the list. But they didn't care. After all, one tuna has been caught. Measurements showed that the fish was 2.4 m long. 4:42 p.m. The hot tuna has a new passenger. It was Danny from a boat. Don't look at him throwing up the last time he went to sea. It was just because I wasn't feeling well. That discomfort is gone now. No more vomiting on board. Now he watched the whales dancing on the sea. And the sound of the detector. He didn't show any excitement. Looks like we haven't seen a fish many times before. Had desensitized him to the scenes. However, when the fishing rod is bent in the hand, his mood was instantly aroused. Finally got a fucking tuna bite. To be honest, I was too happy too soon. What if it was a shark that took the bait? Or Daniela broke the line at the end? That would have been a wasted pleasure. With Danny pulling back most of the line. Make sure it's a tuna. That made Danny more excited and more aggressive. But the strength seems to be a little weak. Jarrett took the fishing pole. But when he recovered his fishing line, he discovered the tuna swam on, and Bob's boat is not far away. It took them by surprise. Bob quickly starts the boat and escapes. OTT is also steering the boat away from each other. After confirming that all is well, Jarrett fought with all her might. Bob looked on coldly, maybe to lose face. The power in Jarrett's hands is growing again. Despite the pounding of the sea, he is still unwilling to give up recycling his fishing line. The fishing time has been an hour and a half, but the tuna still hasn't surfaced. Even then, the line suddenly broke. What the hell is going on? Everything was going well. Why all of a sudden? But my earlier words seemed to be true. And the moonshine that caught the tuna, still adrift on the ocean. The reason was that their engine had broken down. The ship's speed cannot be increased, can only slowly make for port. Should have been back in a few hours. Now it may be delayed until tomorrow. Captain Marcia of the hard commodity laments that fishing is getting harder these days. It's been almost 2 days. Not a single tuna in sight. Just that damn shark. Suddenly the detector sounded. Marcia was immediately excited, although it takes a little longer. The fishing rod was slow to respond. Just as Marcia was sitting back reading, the fishing rod finally made a move. Jason quickly stepped forward to retrieve the line. Start fighting the tuna. Observe the motion of the fishing rod. They're sure it's not a shark. It's the tuna of my dreams. After Joe took over the fishing rod, it feels like this fish is extremely cunning. Very different from the fish before. But that doesn't matter. Just steadily recover the fishing line. That tuna will eventually surface. After the two rotate again, the tuna also rose a few meters. The dawn of victory seemed at hand. As time slowly passes, the tuna finally surfaced. Marcia quickly stood by the harpoon. Wait for the perfect moment. When Marcia decisively stabbed the harpoon, hit the target with precision, with the tuna at the side of the boat. Quickly, Joe tied the rope around the fish's tail. They succeeded in catching the 13th tuna. Just wait for the fish to cool. You can pull it up and sell it. The three waited patiently for half an hour, then dragged the fish onto the deck. The tuna was measured to be 2.7 m long. It's a big, fat fish. The moonshine returned to port. Apparently, they're having some serious engine problems. It was nearly noon before the tuna was sold. After weeding out the useless parts, take out the core and the fish tail. The final tuna weighed 313 pounds and 141 kilograms. Fish of good quality. There's a bit of fat around the edges of the skin. The core is brightly colored. It can sell for as much as $15 a pound. It brought in $4,695 for 3 people. Hard goods arrived at the port soon after. If they didn't sell fish at the same place, I even think these two ships may meet. After the buyer took over the 2.7-meter fish, remove useless areas quickly. Net weight is still 549 pounds, 249 kilograms. The fish is better this time than last time. The abdominal area is rich and fat. The core is excellent. Overall, this tuna is of excellent quality. It can sell for as much as $17 a pound. Combine the weight of the fish. They earned a total of $9,333. On this one return alone, they won the championship for the time being, although this is only a temporary lead. But as long as they keep catching tuna, the ultimate champion will undoubtedly belong to them. Well, that's all for this program. Give it a thumbs up, and let's look forward to the next episode.